Discover College Soccer podcast is sponsored by Veo. Veo is the #1 AI camera solution helping players capture college recruitment videos. Check out their new starter and family options by clicking on the link in the description or visit Discover College Soccer to learn more. Hi, everybody. Welcome to Discover College Soccer. Today, I'm lucky enough to be joined by Coach Kai Edwards out in Utah. Welcome, Coach.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks for being here. Excited to talk to you. Southern Utah University women's program. You've been there a couple years now, but you and I were talking here end of March. It's kind of the height of the showcase season and rolling things up. And so, where are you guys at like right now in terms of uh, with your wrapping up your class of 24s, 25s? Kind of what's your normal time frame? What's that looking like these days?
Yeah, the way I do things, and I've kind of evolved for the times, with the times, against the times. Um, I think a little bit of the open-ended, we're never done. Um, if the best player at North Carolina wants to show up, I'm sure we would find room somewhere. There are definitely players we have strong belief in them and their backup, and the burden of proof to replace them this late is very high, but there's also spots that after a couple spring games, you have questions on their development and challenges and what they're going to do, right? And we have a very tough spring schedule, so a lot of things are being exposed, either good or not as good. Um, but yeah, we're never and never, never and always, right? So we're never always done, and we're never sort of still going, and coming from our region, especially, there's always injuries and homesicknesses and things like that. But we have, couple special things to our region that probably happen more than other regions. We have last year, I think three of my strikers were married already, as sophomores and juniors. So some want to play 4 years, finish their fifth year. Some only want to play three and start a family. So that unpredictable kind of you never know when you're done or when you're going. And we have a student athlete right now going on a mission, her church mission in Peru, I think it is. She's been gone for 9 months. She'll be coming back next January. And we have another one leaving this summer to Houston for her mission. So it's hard to ever say you're done or this when there are many factors to that conversation.
For sure. Well, when you look at your roster, you got a nice mix, predominantly, not surprisingly, west of the
Mhm.
Mississippi players, that sort of thing. So, what are some of the tournaments, the places you like to see to or like places you like to go to see players?
Yeah, so it's always interesting. So I'm a big quality control person and analysis of things. So every year or two, I go back and look. All right, so of the players we emailed on June 15th, how many are on our roster? And currently, I think we have two. So of the people from this event, how many have we are on our roster? How many did we get on campus for a visit? How many did we like? Stuff like that. So it's a constant analysis of maximizing recruiting dollars and acquisition of talent, and assessing what was the return on investment, either time or money, for production of recruiting, right? And we can't say, okay, well, we've always gone to this tournament. Well, what did it yield our program? And maybe it yielded something else that other programs does that, and maybe not for that. So we're constantly analyzing. We look at our roster now. I mean, we have GA, ECNL, Utah State players. We have USYS, our arguably best striker we only saw on video in a high school games because it was during COVID. We have junior college players that are American. We have junior college players that are internationals. We have a D2 transfer. We have an international freshman that we saw at a camp. I mean, we have a local early enrollee that came to our camp. We have a freshman early enrollee that we never saw at an event. We only saw her at two of our camps. Like, so for me, I think being able to be focused in where you recruit and why but also not be so rigid, right? So there's that big challenge of, yeah, everyone's going to the Florida tournament. Okay, well, half the teams in Florida tournament are from the East, and we don't get many players from the East. So we're going to spend $3,000 every year. So $12,000 over 4 years to maybe get two people to visit. Is that the best for our dollar? Right. So we always have to constantly analyze the process to get things and what is the outcome coming from things.
No, I think that's just a great insight that a lot of folks don't realize, how much you really do need to check that ROI as a college coach with your recruiting events. And there's too many events these days that call themselves showcases, and then there might be two colleges there and there's a reason. So
Yeah.
well, you mentioned camps. I think ID camps have really become a key component for a lot of schools. How important are they to you guys? Do you do your own? Do you work others? What does the ID camp situation look like for you guys?
Yeah, we have camps on campus. We have two in the summer. We have a winter camp satellite that we run in Salt Lake. That's sold out for the last 3 years. It's been awesome. We run it in Salt Lake. We last year I think we charged $25 for an hour and 40 minutes. Max 50 kids and two other colleges there. It's great. Now, are we going to be set on you after those? But no, you probably didn't spend much money at $25, but couple of those kids were like, all right, we're going to the Vegas tournament in 2 weeks. Now we have to go watch them there. Right. So it was great for all. I mean, anyone who can do math after renting an indoor facility and timesing 50 times $25, we're not getting rich off that camp. And we had to get there and stay in a hotel ourselves. So we're not making much off it. Like we make a little, but it's not making us rich. It's for us to see players. The thing I like about camps is if you have questions, you ask, right? So can this kid play in tight space? All right, we're playing 4v2s and a 12 by 12 grid. Let's play an 8 by 8 grid. Let's finish the warm up with build up sprints. Let's see where we're at, right? Let's let me kick this ball in there. Can you head a ball? Right. So I mean, you can ask questions. You can manipulate and adjust matchups in 11v11 in small sided games. Okay, I think this kid's going to struggle with pure pace. Okay, let's find the fastest kid in camp and put her against each other. How strong is this kid? What's her decision making under high pressure? Well, let's put someone who's going to high pressure in. So I love that part, and you kind of interact. I'm in training the moment. I'm probably pretty intense. Off, I'd like to call myself, joking and corny and sarcastic at times. So, it's fun to see who can, has common sense or can, joke around a bit and then go to war because that's what we're going to do here at practice. I don't do a tremendous amount. I have a 2-year-old and a 4-year-old, so I don't do a tremendous amount of outside camps myself anymore. I do some, usually for clubs and locals of like friends that I've done for years. But my staff does a lot of them. My staff, they don't have kids right now. So,
Hmm.
they do a lot of the 1 day camps and fly out to places in Arizona and Colorado. And Stephen was at Monroe Community Colleges in New York last year and stuff like that. Salt Lake, the ODP camp, everything.
Okay.
So they do a little more of the camp traveling than I do.
All right. Well, whether it's at a camp or one of the events you're going to or anything else like that, you kind of brought up a few of them, but what makes up the hierarchy of things that you're looking for, whether that's on the field attributes or off the field stuff?
Yeah, I would say off the field, like you're looking for good people, obviously, because in the end we're going to spend a lot of time together. You might get stuck next to me on a plane. Can we joke? Or are you just going to like stare at the wall, put your headphones on? On the field, like for me, I use the phrase accountability to the pursuit of perfection, right? That doesn't mean you have to be perfect, but you have to pursue it, right? And you have to be accountable to the pursuit. If you cross the ball out of bounds, I can get over it. If on Monday you're on the field training 10 minutes before and Wednesday you're doing it again and the next week and for 4 months you're accountable to your actions in pursuit of getting it right? Doesn't mean you have to get it right, but you have to pursue it. And then for me, I look for functional dominance. What why are you on the field in the last 15 minutes of the game? 1-0-0-0-0-1. Are you great at heading? Are you great? Do you have a flip throw? Are you fast? Can you score a goal? Do you have a final pass? Can you defend 1v1? You know, I'm a Manchester United fan. Everyone keeps trying to get rid of Wan-Bissaka until he has to defend a top winger, and then they're like, well, we'll keep him because when it's 20 minutes to go, we know he's going to lock him down in the wing, right? And Bruno's going to get subbed off because he can't defend if we're up 1-0, right? So I think I look for functional dominance. You know, I think jack of all trades are important on your team. But I think at some point in games and in moments of game, they get beat out by specialists, right? And because usually if coaches, and we have a lot more power in college to sub and read the game, well, if our team can't keep possession up front, we're going to try to find someone who has ability to keep possession up front, someone who has that's their specialty, right? You know, you look at football, well, what happens in the end of a game, down by 7 with 10 seconds to go on a kickoff? You put the all hands team on. You put the specialists on to win the game. You put the battlers to blow it up to make it, right? So finding kids who do things special. And I think one of the challenges of women's soccer, yes, and I've coached youth soccer for years too. Yes, many women's soccer players, you know, what don't you do well? They'll give you 50 things. My left foot, heading, I need to make quicker decisions. They'll give you 100 things. Okay, give me 3 things you pride yourself on that you're great. Well, then, okay, then if you don't know or not bold enough to say it, why would I put you on the field? So I always think whenever players analyze their game, you need to have 3 things you did well at a game or practice, 3 things you did poorly, right? Everyone, oh, I got to go get better. Yes, getting better means I better my things I need to work on, but then I have to better the things I'm good at, right? So we look for that.
Love it. Absolutely love it. Well, in terms of your roster, we talked about you guys have junior college players. You've got internationals, some transfers. What those 3 areas I like to call, the non-traditional pools
Right.
of candidates for a lot of folks. So how important are they to your overall recruiting? How has the transfer portal changed things for you guys, whether that's inbound or outbound, and how much is international at play? What does all that look like for you guys?
Yeah, well, and it's funny. So our spring game, and I tweeted about this. Our spring game last year, and one of our team values is diversity, right, and inclusion. So I think our roster shows that, right? It's not one way to get here, right, and it's not one way to stay here. But even with that said, I think we started 7 quote unquote homegrown players in our last game. You know, and it was like 6 or 7 homegrown. You know, they could have been seniors, but started here as freshmen, right? And it was like 3 internationals and or 2 JC and 2 4 years or whatever it was, right? So there's still a homegrown base with a diverse approach, you know, and I think having that is great. Our team doesn't have to travel to Japan for spring break to learn about Japan. We have 2 players from Japan on our roster. So it diversifies them. So our ability to grow as a group, I think, is larger than a group that's all from the same city, same region, and same experiences, right? And I've been at universities like that. Now, their strength is they all have the same appreciation for an ocean, a mountain, a beach. They all played CIF. They all went to the same leagues, whatever, but there's a cap when you all have the same experiences. I think our cap is much higher because of the different branches we have. So I think all levels are important. The homegrown player is very important, and we have a good group of those players. I think, one of our junior college players was like, well, how much do I owe you for the uniform? Nothing. I almost cried. And it was like, oh, where are we stopping for the game? McDonald's or Arby's? And we're going the night before, and we're going to Buca de Beppo. And they're like, wait, what? Right? So they get a different appreciation. Like, do we get to keep the cleats? Yes. Right. So I think having that, our Division 2 player was in a Final Four as a starting player. Now she's come from a high level, but she also has a different appreciation for things. We've had a Pac-12 players and stuff like that. So it lends to conversation. In the international side, we have France, Canada, French speaking, Madrid, Spain, next year New Zealand, Japan, so they all just bring such different cultures, which makes it fun. I think we speak something like 8 languages fluently on our team. Portuguese, Mandarin, Japanese, French, Spanish, Italian, German. You know, like it's fun. Like on our team, if you can't say hi and bye in four different languages after a year, you chose to not want to learn, right? So I think that's awesome. The interesting thing about the transfer portal, and people make such a big deal about it, and the one-time transfer. Well, the reason why it's such a big deal is because it became new to football and basketball. You have always been able to one-time transfer in soccer. And there's always a release. Now it's just a public, but before I'm old enough to get a fax from a kid from a university that says the coach has released you from the school, from this school to your school. So like it's always been there. It's just more public. So and I think it's one of those you can complain about it or you can be great in it. And our goal is to be great in every. I think of it as the same thing as you don't want to put all your money in stock, right? You want your money in stock, real estate, everything, right? Diversify your portfolio and then be great in each portfolio, right? With something that's your base that you can always rely on. Our base is homegrown. So that's will always be our base. It'll be our strongest group of kids. I say always now, but you never know. Never and never, never and always, right? If the times change, you got to change. But we diversify our portfolio, 4-year, 2-year internationals. So our portfolio is diverse. So we never fully depend on one group, but we do have a core group, but then we have diversity, and that's how you create power.
Love it. Love it. Well, let's shift gears, talk a little bit about the school. I'm sure there's some folks out there not familiar with Southern Utah. You've been there a few
What?
years.
No?
I,
Are you
I
sure?
know, right? I mean, it's
Hey, I found it when I got here.
well, so you've been here a few years now. What are some of the things that you found that are awesome about the school that you love about the school? Maybe some things we wouldn't even know just by going through the website.
Yeah, Southern Utah University is nickname is School of Natural or of National Parks. We have the most national parks within 2 hours of any university in the country. Zion's like 20 minutes from our door. Grand Canyon's 2.5 hours, Moab 3 hours, Bryce Canyon's 30 minutes, ski resort 25 minutes. I mean, you have everything. If you want to hike, you want to kayak, you want to whatever. Outdoors is the outdoor university. We're at 6,000 feet. I think third or fourth highest Division I in the country. But it's like I lived in Michigan. Like the snow doesn't sit there. Like it's sunny. It's something like 280 days of sun a year. Still cold, but it's sunny. So the snow melts. Um, and then it's almost like a microclimate, 40 minutes from St. George, which is more desert. It's Vegas type weather. So like it could be 115 there and 90 here. And then in the winter it could snow here and it could be 60 and a light drizzle there. So 40 minutes away you can always change. Um, I call it a medium-sized school. I call it a big private school, even though it's a public school. It's about 10,000 people, or 10 to 14,000, but it's in a town of 30,000. So it's a university town. The school, the university is the biggest employer in the county by far. So you get that smallest school feel, but you also get the biggest school feel because you're the red in town, right? So I love those parts. There's a great map on the school website that, like, I tell people from San Diego, so we're closer to you than Sacramento is. And they're like, I go, you got to go through 2 states, but we're still closer. You make a right, make a left, get on the 15, and you go straight, right? So there's a map that shows Disneyland 6 hours, LA 7.5, San Diego 7.5 to 8, all the national parks within 3, and for those things, it's absolutely amazing. I've never seen someone come here and not like it. I've seen people come here and not love it because if you're a beach person, there's nothing I can tell you about it to like it. But no one's ever stepped foot in this town, in this county, and said, I don't like it. The cleanest university I've ever been to. There's no graffiti, there's no gangs in that region. Like I now have a daughter. Like if I have a daughter and they were like, I'm going to Southern Utah University, I'd sleep well at night.
No, well, I do. I got two of them, and one who's looking at schools. So that's good.
There you
That's a good
go.
that's a good a good endorsement. Well, let's roll back to, let's say, October. You're in the heart of that conference season. Can you do me a favor? Walk me through what a typical week's going to look like for your players, like when are games, classes, practices, uh,
Yep.
all that kind of stuff. What's a normal week look like?
Yeah, in general, our conference plays Thursday, Sunday. So we have Monday off. and they'll do recovery. Most of them have class, recovery, ice baths, or we do contrast baths, whatever they want to do. We don't talk to them. We try not to talk to them, try not to see them on Monday. Tuesday, review of film. We send them the film usually late Monday night or Tuesday morning from the game on Sunday. We have the Huddle suite. So we have Huddle, we have Sports Code, Game Breaker, we have Y Scout, we have everything they have, we have, which is awesome. So we're able to deliver all video to them in small portions and what we want them to see with graphics, and then they can watch it, send us notes on the app. We don't have to meet in person. If they want to, we can. Some people are required. Sometimes we do it in functional groups. Strikers come with me. Let's look at these 3 clips. Then we train on Tuesday for about 2 hours. They lift for about 45 minutes. They have class. Wednesday, we usually do functional groups. So I'll take the strikers and midfielder, attacking mid. Steven takes holding mids and backs. Jen takes goalkeepers. Separate on the field, we work tactical, functional on something specific, and review of the match, and it's something specific that will help them for the next match. This team, the right back overshifts. This is how we're going to beat them. This is the space we're going to look to exploit. Train in bed, play at full speed for 20 minutes. Thursday match and class. Friday, if you played over 40 minutes, you're off and you're doing recovery, yoga, stretching, whatever. If less, you're going to play a high intensity game, whatever that is, 66, 77, for about 20 minutes at pace, replicating the Thursday match. Review of film of the day before. Saturday, we talk about the Sunday opponent. Light training, go through the match. Saturday night, pregame meal, Sunday pregame meal, Sunday play, repeat.
Okay. All right. Well, let's talk a little bit more about the on the field side of things. As we kind of just did, we've talked about your roster, but is there a roster size that you feel is ideal that you're trying to be at each year?
Yeah, I would love to be at 27, 23 field players, 4 goalkeepers. That'd be my goal. But like I said, we have 2 injuries, so now we're at 29. We have a kid who was supposed to go on a church mission who didn't, but so we end up with 31, 32 every once in a while, but our goal is 70 or 27 to probably 32 is our goal, with 3 to 4 being goalkeepers.
Well, and you've mentioned names already, but the other part of the roster is your staff. So, how many staff do you have? What roles does everybody kind of focus on? And what other support staff maybe help with the team that are, other athletic department staff, that kind of thing?
Yeah, we have Steven. He was I was with him. I was actually the volunteer. He was the paid assistant at Oakland University in Michigan. Brought him here. He volunteered first, then he became assistant, now associate head coach, which is unbelievable. He's well earned it. So we're big on DISC assessments here, the behavioral testing. I'm a high functioning D, and in the soccer field, I'm a C off the field. So we can't have another one of those, Stevens and I. So it creates a balance. Jen's a C, so it's a good balance of our staff. So he's in charge of recruiting. He's in charge of all on-campus visits, databasing, the back line and holding mid in general, and then other duties as assigned. And then Jen is a volunteer, but works her butt off. She works, as hard as she can. She does the goalkeeping, helps with defensive set pieces, some parts of scouts, team meals, organization, stuff like that. She'll be great. She'll be a power 4 assistant in the coming years, 100%. And then Leah's our grad assistant, who we use as a director of soccer operations. So she does all team meals, all organization, all scheduling, all flights, hotels, everything. We have Dustin, who's a second goalkeeper coach. He's a local in town, coaches like U12s. So they both kind of train the goalies and always around. If the goalie needs an extra training, Dustin's also just a great guy, and a local who's quality. And then Amy, we use as a development person, coaches a U13 team in town, was 2 blocks from the field. She's just that person who's around. And one of the student athletes need to have a conversation about life, about anything. Like she doesn't coach them, but anything about life or managing stressors or life. She's just a good human with 3 kids and knows how to handle life. So it's just good people to have around. We have Kayla Kovar, who's our academic advisor, helps with scheduling classes, setting up tutor study hall. Currently our trainer just left for another job, but we'll get a new full-time athletic trainer who's at every practice, every game. And then we have Coach I, who's our strength coach. So that's kind of our direct support staff around our team.
No, it sounds like a great staff, but you being the man at the top, we got to ask about your coaching style, style of play you're looking to implement there. What's that like?
Yeah, I just scream a lot and hope. No, just kidding. So uh, you know, I'm a Libra, so I think of myself as a balanced scale. So I think there's a time where you have to get on a kid, and I think there's a time where you have to, you know, give them a hug and make them feel good, right? So, there's games when we play BYU, they don't need me up and yelling. There's already enough stress and emotion in the game. They need confidence for me, in them, right? So I think it's understanding moments for me and adjusting to the demand of the moment. It's like what we tell them on the field: don't do what you want to do what the game needs you to do. So there's moments I might not want to do something, but like I'm not that fun loving of a guy, but we're going to start the beginning of training today with a tag game because it's fun. And just get them going. It's cold outside. Just there's a game tomorrow. Take the pressure off of thinking of the game. They're prepared. Let's do something, right? What the game needs. So I think of myself that way. How do we like to play? I'm not a big system guy. I used to be a super Dutch person. I'm not a big system. I'm a principles of play. So we break everything down in the numbers: 1v1, 2v1, 2v2, 3v3, all the way 4v4, maybe fives is probably the biggest numbers we ever truly talk about because I believe the game is small numbers. Yes, there's 11 on the field, but my right back and left, right back and left wing don't need to be that coordinated to each other. They don't watch the same film, anything, so we do everything in pods. So it allows us to change formations if we want, because it doesn't matter. The analyzing my team has to look at is, well, what's the situation? Well, I'm defending one person. In this part of the field. I'm attacking, and there's two of us and two of them in this part of the field. The formation doesn't matter. It's the principle and standard of play is kind of how we coach. So we coach to understand numbers and exploit space.
Awesome. Well, you've been super generous with your time. Don't want to keep you here too long, but one last question though.
Yeah, no worries.
If you could boil it all down into one piece of advice, one nugget of info that you think any college prospect, should know, what would that be?
Showcase, camp or showcase, either one, has somehow morphed into a phrase that as an excuse to not perform well because it doesn't matter. College coaches can't teach people how to win and want to win moments of the game. Doesn't have to be the full game, moments of the game when they get to college. The moment you step foot at a camp or a showcase or a game, you are asking to be judged. You are taking the test, right? You do not take your math test without studying and doing homework. So if you, and it's the old lawyer phrase, don't ask questions you don't already know the answer to. So if you're going to go to a camp or showcase, be physically, mentally, technically, tactically prepared. If you're going to send emails, coach, come watch me. Well, you're asking to be judged. You're asking for the test. So be prepared for the test by creating a system before that and a process to train, to be prepared. Okay, you're going to Arizona, it's hot, then be more fit. Conditions exploit the people that already have a weakness. If you're fit, doesn't matter if it's hot, humid, dry, cold, you're fit. Right. So when you are asking to be judged, be prepared by doing what it takes before. And to be honest, 90% of the time, all the time you're spending sending emails for people to watch you play, if you went out and trained at an intense level with yourself and one other person, you'd probably improve more and get seen better.
Okay. All right, coach. Love it. Really appreciate your time. Hopefully you'll think that coming down to the Florida ECNL and Lakewood Ranch is worth it. So then we can actually hang out and grab a cup of coffee in person.
100%. It helps my skin too when I
All
go
right.
there. It's really dry here.
Yeah, there you go. All right. Well, thank you much, coach. We'll talk soon.
Thanks. Go T-Birds.
Hi, everybody. It's Matt from Discover College Soccer. I hope you're enjoying the podcast, whether that's on YouTube or your favorite podcast platform. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button. I also wanted to let you know about the Discover College Soccer Study Table. This is our brand new online portal that is complete with a 14-part online course giving you all of the ins and outs of the college soccer recruiting process. There's also a wealth of resources such as checklists, templates. There's the spreadsheets that have every soccer program in the country along with their coaches, their contact information, their social media information, some basic stats about the school, and more. Plus, there's an online community where you can ask your questions, share your wins, your losses, any questions that you may have around the college soccer recruiting process. It's all there at the Discover College Soccer study table that you can find at discovercollegesoccer.com/study table, and hopefully we will see you there.